point to your ear. Tell her you can't.
I can hear.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, good, good, good.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. You just it had just started the live, so I want to say
Okay.
to everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We do have our guest just popped in. City Councilwoman Terri Kail-Smith will be our guest tonight. And so thank you so much for coming. How was your day?
Thank you. Thank you for having. It was busy. It's budget season, so between that and public hearings, it's been a little bit busy.
Okay, because I know I was going to send you a text earlier, but I think you were in session, so I said I didn't send it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's play it.
yeah. So first of all, thank you for coming and to because this probably be your last as a guest as city councilwoman with West End Power on our Talk Time with Terri. And please forgive me, I don't have on my uniform. I cannot find my. I think I packed them away. I don't know where they are. So please forgive me. I'm out of uniform.
Okay.
So please forgive me. But yeah. So thank you for coming. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. Um, but again, ladies and gentlemen, we have our City Councilwoman Terri Kail-Smith. You will see that the comments is off. We do not have our tech um, gentlemen, so comments will be off. So first and foremost, how are you feeling knowing that you're closer to retirement?
Actually, I'm excited. It'll be the first time. I have grandkids from the age of 3 to 21, and so my oldest grandson pretty much grew up while I was working all the time. So I can't wait to go spend some time with them. And they
Okay.
live in another state. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's the where you go in the okay, okay.
yeah.
And then your baby you just had your baby is how old? Your baby
Three months old, 3 years old, 3 years old. And they live on the north side though. But,
okay,
and
okay.
they're just as cute as can be. And their mom teaches for Pittsburgh Public, and so they're going to stay around here for a while. So
Oh
that's a
wow, I
good
didn't
thing.
know
Yeah,
that. I didn't
yeah,
know that. No,
yeah.
so besides family and your grandchildren, what's a couple other things that you just cannot wait to do once it sets in that you are retired?
Nothing. True. I cannot wait to do absolutely nothing. I said to somebody, my day starts sometimes at between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning, where the phone starts going off, and I go until I go home at night. And my mother's 103, and so I still sometimes go, spend time with her, well, 4 times a week. And so when I get home, there's nothing left for me. It's just I'm
Okay.
exhausted. Yeah.
I think you're gonna get bored with that, but that's
Oh, I
okay.
don't think so. I am so excited. I'm going to be coming to Q's house. That's why.
Come
Terry and
on,
Q's house.
come on.
Yeah. So, I haven't
So
seen Queenie in a while.
oh my goodness, you know what? She's gonna be 15.
Oh my gosh.
March the 4th. She's gonna be
Oh my God.
15.
I
So
think I
yeah,
remember when you got her.
yes,
Yeah.
she was over here on the corner. You remember?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was 5 weeks. Yeah, yeah. So, what is something that really tell us something that really made you happy to see in District Two? And that could be anywhere from the numerous committees or something that you're really happy that you were able to see.
I was happy I got to see. Well, we repurposed, I think, around 10 closed buildings. I
Mhm.
was nervous. I was afraid we weren't going to be able to do it. I didn't think I had the ability to be the council person to lead this charge. And I mean, by the grace of God, we were able to take care of 10 buildings, and some of them are doing really great things.
Mhm.
I think those were what some things I liked. I love seeing the Chartiers spray park installed. That was
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge project for the area. I was glad seeing Chartier City getting some of the investment that they have put so much into that community. I tell people all the time it's a predominantly Black neighborhood with some of the highest home ownership and lowest crime in the city of Pittsburgh. It's what every one of our neighborhoods should strive to be. So I'd like to see when we invest in people that have invested in us too and in their community too. So
Let
I
me.
love seeing that. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a couple others. I mean, there's a lot of things that over the years I probably forgot more than I can remember. But when Highmark Stadium was built when we were there, so seeing that stadium and how they're taking off, that's our district. Our district is so big now; it actually goes over to the north side. Where before I knew where all the boundaries were, all the borders, everything. Now I'm trying to learn it all again. It's my
Yeah,
age. I'm thinking it's a little bit harder. So,
yeah, yeah. Now let me ask you: is Charter City the highest home owned Black community in Pittsburgh?
It's one of the highest home ownerships, period. Black, white, anybody in the city of Pittsburgh. One of the highest.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
like I think it's second or third highest.
Okay. Okay.
But when I
Thank you.
first started, I believe it was one of the highest, period. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Um, so now I wanna tap in real quick. I want to tap in with the is the miscommunication. I don't know what's going on with the legislation.
Yeah.
Legislation.
So it's a long story. I think at first people were told that we were jeopardizing the federal fair housing laws. I think that was soon debunked, and we found that that was not accurate. And talking with people who do that for a living, and so who oversee that. And so then, but so I just want to be clear. My legislation actually had absolutely nothing to do with the administration's legislation. My
Mm,
legislation was separate and independent of anything they did. I didn't even know they were working on legislation. I put my legislation in. If you recall, we had three issues, one after another, in the West End, where they were going to put a shelter in
mhm,
temporarily, but into a facility that was in the West End, across from a playground, across from a library with a lot of children programs, and next door to, or not within walking feet distance of a daycare. And
mhm,
so trying to work with people and saying, back when I was council president, I formed a task force on addressing the homeless population in the city of Pittsburgh. That task force made several recommendations, none of which were followed to my understanding to this date, although they did make several, including the tiny homes.
mhm,
Um, and so I'd like to see some of those things come to fruition. The other thing that I did was I recommended some places that might be more feasible in our district that would we probably work towards a better, safer environment for everyone. And because we've had some places in our district that people don't even know were there,
mhm,
and they just ran so well, they run them well. One of them was one of the churches, I think it was Abiding Faith Church. They had one in East Carnegie, a center
okay.
in East Carnegie, and they ran that facility really nicely. Nobody even knew it was there, but it was no different than anybody else in the community. And that's great. But anyway, so I introduced my legislation after there was that incident at the center in the West End. Then there was an issue up in Banksville where they were residents were told that all these horrible things that were going to happen. We'd looked into it and got some clarity on what we were hearing, and that there's actually a program running there now. And then they heard that maybe Banksville Marion Manor was going to be purchased for to accommodate the 500 and 500 days. But all this was happening without any conversation with the community. And all I said to them was, talk to people, because I think if you talk to people, you take those fears down a little bit. You make them understand, how the facilities are going to be run. That people are going to be. We actually have people that I said to somebody, we want to make sure they're safe inside and outside. You want to make sure they're getting the treatment inside that may be needed and maybe not. Just at least getting the help that they need, or
Mhm.
a safe place to be, because we've actually had people, and I've heard somebody say stuff about comments about different things. I'll wait for you to ask some of those questions. I don't want to step on your toes on those, but for us, there were I introduced my
What was
legislation.
you going to say? What was you going to
Okay.
say?
Okay, so I introduced my legislation, and then later that day, I got a call from the administration saying that they had a legislation, which I knew nothing about, that they had sent to city planning. And so I explained that our legislation had to be exhausted first. So, I don't know what their legislation does, but he said it would be, conflicting legislation. So I said, well, let's work together. I'm okay working together. I mean, I want to work. I want to make sure we're doing what's best for the Pittsburghers, period.
Mm,
And then I started finding out that there was a lot of unintended consequences from their bills, including, I think there was an article or an editorial somebody had sent me from one of the local papers. It may have been the Post Gazette, to be honest. I don't remember exactly where it was, but about how corporate America, if we remove all the barriers to the zoning, we're going to open up Pittsburgh to all these corporate, corporations buying up our properties, opening up LLCs, stacking people in a home, and then leaving. And then all that does is increase our rent, increases the unhoused population. It has a lot of negative potential. So there's a lot of unintended consequences for the legislation. So we decided we were going to try to work through both of those things, both my legislation and their legislation. And then the next thing I heard was that after we had that meeting, was that this organization wanted to paint me as all kinds of things I heard. But anyway, some of the things I heard were that I talked about people being raped. I talked about, I can't remember all the stuff that I didn't want to help the unhoused. I didn't want to help the people with disabilities. Meanwhile, I have a ward sitting on my desk for all the work I've done with people with disabilities. So I mean, and I actually held the largest rally in the state of Pennsylvania with Mark Brentley years ago to help
Mhm.
people with disabilities. So that was kind of like, okay, come on, you're really stretching it here because I
Yeah.
do a lot of work there. And but then there was the part about people. And so I said to somebody, I said, you do realize my concern has been for also for the people, not just outside the facility, but inside the facility. Because we did have somebody here on the portico who was afraid to go into housing. And that's, I think a lot of times what we're not considering is the reason why some people are not going into, off the streets and into some of the housing is because they don't feel safe. And there was a woman who explained to our sergeant at arms at the time that she didn't want to go into a facility because she didn't feel safe. She was attacked and was raped, according to her, in a facility. I don't know where it was that she was staying at. So I said, what are we doing to make sure people are safe inside and outside so
Mhm.
that everybody can peacefully coexist? That's all I ever wanted. And
Yeah.
I wasn't trying, and I wanted to make sure the public had a chance to talk about it. So you could say, if you have a public process, you can say, tell us what you're going to do. Who's the contact for the place? Who's providing treatment? Do they have a good history of providing treatment? What's the security? Is there's a security plan needed, or maybe there's not one needed? Are there children going to be in there? Are they going to be safe? Are there children in their community? So I think it's having a chance to ask those questions, because it may be none of the above. You don't need any of those things. But
Yeah.
how will people know that if you're not having a conversation with them?
Two,
And so
two,
for me, that was it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So two things, because you tapped into it a little bit in with the the sexual assault,
Yeah,
and then rumors of like junkies
yeah.
or illegals or things like that. Do you want to address that, or do you do?
Yeah, I would love to, because I think I would love it. Have you ever heard me use, you've known me for a long time. Have you ever heard me use the word junkies? I would never. First of all, my cousin was homeless on the street and had a drug problem.
I
And
have to
thank
be
God.
1,000% honest. No, I have
Thank
never.
you. Thank you. I mean, honest to God, I mean, I was so happy that he got the help that he needed and that he's trying. Every day's a battle for him. So I would never talk like that. I have another cousin who had the same issue. So I have it in my own family. I have it, we've had it in our own, office with different various people. And, we've had it with throughout life. We all know somebody who's affected by some of this stuff. And, and honestly, I don't think Ricky Moody would tolerate me talking like that for 1 second. So, so and so not only would I don't think he would tolerate that, because he has done a lot of service in that area.
Okay. And now, is that door closed? That conversation between the organization Pittsburgh United, or in yourself or your office, is that door closed to conversate?
They never approached me. They didn't even talk to me. They just
Okay.
went like they were working with the administration and three of my colleagues. And my colleagues said this is not the way to work with her, because she'll work with you. Just, this is not the way. It's my understanding that they
Okay.
said that. I wasn't there, so I don't know really what was said and what, I've heard all kinds of things, just like they probably heard things about me. But I welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody and work with anybody who's wants to better Pittsburgh and wants to help all of Pittsburgh. I welcome the opportunity to work with anyone.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So and thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
So, and then also to tap into, is there a meeting coming up because some people may not know what we're talking about, and I don't
yeah,
want to spend a lot of time on because after 30 minutes, 35 minutes, people will start tapping out. So
yeah,
if someone don't know what we're talking about, is there a meeting? Isn't there a meeting coming up Wednesday? And what
yeah.
time and where's that at?
Yeah.
And what do they need to do if they would like to?
So there's a meeting on Wednesday. It's a public hearing. We were going to wait. I actually offered the administration to send out the letter and to mail it out and to schedule the hearing themselves, but there was not enough time. You need, I think, 21 days for city planning to schedule their hearing, and they didn't have enough time. So I said we would do it on our end. And so we tried to get a mailer out to some people, and it's kind of late too, but um, the meeting is on Wednesday, the 20th at 6 o'clock on the fifth floor of City Council chambers. We made accommodations if there is any overflow. We want to make sure people are comfortable. We put some seating arrangements and some televisions and some other things to make sure we have overflow accommodations too. And then we'll just bring people in as they're if there's public speakers, as their name is called.
Oh, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I hope you got that, everyone. If if you wanted to participate with public comment, please do so. Um, Now, let me ask you this: are you planning a community retirement?
So, um, I was thinking about that after I saw your questioning, and you were asking me. I thought, I don't even know. I mean, I would love to do it, but I think I haven't cried about leaving, but I'm afraid that will do it for me. So I'm actually excited until I think about, I've been here for a long time and never thought I would be here. I hate politics, so I never thought I would be in politics ever. So the fact that I'm here, I feel like it was such a blessing, and at the same time, I felt so out of my element. But I would love to do something to tell District Two, goodbye. I would love to do something. So thanks for putting that in my mind. I'll try to do
Good,
something.
good,
Thank you.
good, good. So before we wrap it up, I got like one or two more. So is this for someone that may not be able to talk to you or see you before you retire? Is there anything that you would like to say to your constituents, that they may not be able to make it to monthly meetings, and like I said, may not be able to talk to you or see you before you retire?
I want to thank them for giving me an opportunity of a lifetime. I never thought I would have this chance. District 2 believed in me, and they believed in me for a long time, and that's why I'm so stubborn when it comes to protecting them, and because, the area has been dumped on a lot, and I think that some of the things that happened could have been avoided in a negative way. It could have been a positive for the community if they just approached it the right way, and that's why I feel like if you're working with people, that's we probably get so much better of a response by working with everyone. So I would just like to thank everyone in District 2 for giving me an opportunity that I never thought I would have. Um, they changed my life in so many ways, and I just can't even tell you everything that they've done and what it's meant to me and to, everyone and my family, and except for my mother. She said, "Honey, is this another volunteer job?" So,
How is she doing?
She's
103?
I was just telling somebody, I said, "She's a pistol." I said, "She's 103, and boy, does she tell stories, because they lived on Wally Avenue, and then but before that, she was from Ohio. She's from Ohio, my aunt's from Ohio, and they married 2 brothers that were from Squirrel Hill, and then somehow they ended up on the Hill District, and then their house was torn down for the arena, and they ended up on Fifth Avenue, but she still thinks she's on Fifth Avenue sometimes, and she and my sister moved out of the city, actually. So yeah, but she's a pistol. Her stories are amazing. I'm so angry they haven't been recording them all along.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
wow. Oh
yeah,
wow. That's a thought. That's a thought. Well,
yeah.
listen, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for sharing, answering our questions. Maybe you'll come after your retirement and
Oh,
come
I
back
love
to
that.
the show.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you would like to say to the audience, and or before we close out and end our evening?
Yeah, I want to first thank you for having me on here. This really gave me an opportunity to clarify and some of the misinformation being spread, and intentionally or unintentionally, whatever the purpose. I think that we all need to work together for the betterment of Pittsburgh, and I'm willing to do that, and I hope everyone else will be too. Although I will say that I think I'm only asking for the public to have a voice, and for council, their elected officials, to make a decision over a zoning administrator. That's the protection of the public that we're looking out for. It's not intended to hurt anybody or to harm anybody. It's to engage conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Thank
And I
you.
hope that door is open. And like as you said, that door is open. And so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. And thank you for sharing your time with us, City Councilwoman Teresa Kail-Smith. If someone has questions, or a question that I may not have asked and they may want to talk to you, how can someone get in touch with you?
They can call me at my cell phone. If you call my office, it rings to my cell phone and to my work cell phone, both phones.
Okay.
Or you can call me. So you call me at 412-255-8963. I'm on social media. You can call me on my cell phone. I'll give you my personal cell phone. It's 412-969-4991. Or you can contact me via email. And that's a little bit longer, but it's Teresa THERESA.Kail, KAIL -Smith at pittsburghpa.gov. And Pittsburgh and PA are spelled out as if it's one word, all lowercase, everything. That's a long email, huh? So
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, thank you for joining Talk Time with Terri. Hope to see you next